moving from the quality control concept, which is more a checklist of things that need to be, in place, and a little bit more, should we say, reactive, to, in an audit context, putting more emphasis on the planning, starting to think about actually how this could go wrong, both from a very general perspective in terms of what the areas that the standards are laying out very clearly, but also from a firm perspective, some of the differences that are unique to me, maybe the type of clients that I typically work with, or the way that I've structured my firm compared to others, and starting to think about, right, rather than focusing on the checklist, we need to start with the kind of main objectives and work from there to be able to plan out how we design an overall system that permutates across the business, actually kind of touches on things like culture, for example, which would never kind of sit on a checklist, and gives us something that's far more holistic, but also far more proactive, if you like, rather than reactive.
Yes, because of course the risks that impact a firm change over time. So during the pandemic, we've had a whole load of new risks. Yeah, and I think it's one way that firms might look at that risk assessment and what their risks are is to sit in a room with relevant people, and who those people are will depend on how big your firm is. It might be just a couple of you, it might be somebody from each level if you've just got a few people and you've got juniors and you want to make sure that you understand the risks that they perceive. And just sitting down and saying, okay, what could go wrong? What could cause us to give a wrong audit report on something? And it could be as easy as, oh, somebody goes off sick and then we're all in a bit of a panic, and because actually there's not a lot of spare resource. Or it could be, well, we made the wrong strategic decisions in taking on clients that actually we haven't really got the size or scale or technical expertise for. So right at those different ends of the spectrum, just really stopping and thinking. And that is one of the things I think is really nice about the standards. It does say essentially, stop and think about your risks. And if you do that, and to some extent, I might do this little bit with almost a blank piece of paper, just saying, okay, in a very general sense, what could go wrong? And then think about it, and then look at what you can share with others, what service providers have provided in terms of a more generic list, and think, yes, this is my risk here. And oh, look, there's a suggested response. That's what the standard calls, the mitigation of the risk, a response. And does that response fit with the way I run my firm? And if it doesn't, you can choose a different response. But if it does, then you've done that nice tailoring by thinking about your own circumstance. But then, as you say, you haven't started trying to write it. Trust me, and I've written it from scratch, and it takes a very long time to write it from scratch. If you're just going through everything in the standard and writing everything from scratch.